A Polish millionaire is speaking out today after facing backlash for stealing a hat from a child at the U.S. Open this week, and it wasn't to apologize.
A grown man snatches a kid's autographed hat last week during the U.S. Open.
What kind of stuff does this guy do when he's not stealing hats from excited tennis fans?
Footage of the incident trended online, and internet sleuths quickly identified the man as Peter Cezarek, a millionaire Polish CEO. Now, after major backlash, he's finally apologized, vowing to make amends.
This guy knew exactly what he was doing. He reached in, he snatched it away, he hid it.
What is happening to CEOs lately? Seriously. Are they auditioning for reality TV? First, Andy Byron gets caught cheating at a Coldplay concert, and the footage practically broke the internet. Now, just when you think you've seen it all, another millionaire decides to one-up the embarrassment by stealing from a child. Piotr Sherek, a wealthy Polish CEO, leaned in and snatched a hat right out of a young fan's hands at the US Open. The cameras caught every second, the crowd gasped, and within hours, the internet had crowned him the hat thief CEO. And trust me, if you think the clip was bad, that followed makes this one of the wildest CEO scandals we've seen in years. August 29th, 2025. The US Open is in full swing in New York. And Polish tennis player Kamil Majrzak has just pulled off an incredible upset victory against Russian star Karen Khachanov in the second round. Majrzak, being the absolute class act that he is, decides to make a young fan's day. He spots a kid in the stands, a boy named Brock, and decides to give him his match-worn victory hat as a souvenir. Picture little Brock's face lighting up. This is every tennis fan's dream, right? Getting memorabilia from your hero right after they've won a huge match. The cameras are capturing this beautiful moment of sportsmanship. But what happens next is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about human decency. So Majrzak takes off his hat and starts moving toward young Brock. The kid's eyes are wide with excitement, his little hands reaching out, probably thinking this is the best day of his entire life. And then, out of nowhere, a grown man, and not just any grown man, but a millionaire CEO, literally reaches over and snatches the hat right out of the air, right in front of the kid. Right in front of thousands of spectators, right in front of cameras broadcasting to millions around the world. The audacity, the absolute mind-blowing audacity of this moment. Little Brock's face. Oh my God. You can see the exact moment his heart breaks. 1 second, he's about to receive the greatest gift of his young life, and the next second, some random adult has stolen it from him. But here's where it gets even more outrageous. This wasn't just some random fan. This was Piotr Sherek, the CEO, founder, and CEO of Drogbrook, a major Polish paving company. This man is worth millions. He could probably buy 100 signed tennis hats if he wanted to. And the way he did it, like he had every right to that hat, like he was entitled to steal from a child. The sheer arrogance is breathtaking. But wait, it gets worse. Because what this CEO did after stealing from a child will make you lose all faith in humanity. Now, you might think that after being caught red-handed stealing from a child on international television, this CEO would immediately apologize, right? Maybe show some shame? Wrong. Instead, Piotr Sherek doubled down in the most shocking way possible. According to reports flooding social media, this millionaire had the nerve to defend his actions online, saying, "In life, there is a rule. First come, first serve." Can you believe that? This grown man just told a child that life is about being faster and more aggressive than everyone else. That grabbing what you want, even from children, is just how the world works. But it gets even more insulting. Reports suggest he also said something along the lines of, "If you were faster, you'd have it," to a child. He basically told a little kid that he should have been quicker if he wanted to keep his gift. This is victim blaming at its absolute worst. The internet absolutely exploded. Social media went into complete meltdown mode. Hatgate started trending worldwide. People were calling for boycotts. The story went viral in the worst possible way for this CEO. But the story doesn't end there. It's about to take a turn that no one saw coming. When the internet gets angry, it gets creative. And boy, did they get creative with Piotr Sherek. Within hours, internet detectives had identified this hat-snatching villain. They found his company, they found his profiles, they found everything. The man went from anonymous hat thief to internationally recognized symbol of adult greed in less than 24 hours. And then the review bombing began. Drogbrook's Google reviews became a battlefield. The company's rating plummeted faster than a tennis ball. Angry reviewers from around the world started flooding their business pages with one-star reviews. People were writing, "Would never hire a company whose CEO steals from children," and "If this is how the CEO behaves in public, imagine how they treat customers." The international media picked up the story. CNN, NBC, CBS. Major news networks started covering this, like breaking news. This CEO's 15 seconds of terrible fame was extending into hours, then days of global humiliation. Polish media was going crazy. This was their countrymen embarrassing them on the international stage. The pressure was mounting from every direction. And throughout all of this chaos, one question kept echoing. Where was the apology? Where was basic human decency? Little did anyone know, the pressure was about to reach a breaking point. Remember Kamil Makshak, our tennis hero, who started this whole saga? Well, he wasn't about to let this story end with a child's disappointment. This absolute legend went on a mission. He tracked down little Brock. Can you imagine? A professional tennis player, in the middle of one of the biggest tournaments in the world, took time out to find the kid who got robbed by a greedy CEO. And when Macherzak found Brock, he didn't just give him one hat. This beautiful human gave him multiple hats, plus other tennis gear. He turned what should have been one of the worst experiences in this kid's life into something even more special. The photos of Macherzak with Brock started circulating online, and people were crying, happy tears. After all the anger, here was this reminder of what genuine kindness looks like. Macherzak became an even bigger hero. The contrast between the tennis player's behavior and the CEO's behavior couldn't have been more stark. But this beautiful gesture also cranked up the pressure on Sterik even more. The story was reaching new audiences, and the pressure for accountability was becoming impossible to ignore. And that's when the CEO finally broke. After days of international humiliation and mounting pressure, Piotr Sterik finally reached his breaking point. The man who had confidently defended his actions with first come, first serve suddenly wasn't feeling so confident anymore. On Monday, the apology finally came. A full, public, unequivocal apology that acknowledged just how badly he had messed up. According to multiple news reports, Sterik admitted he had made a huge mistake. He called his actions poor judgment and hurtful. He acknowledged the pain he had caused, not just to Brock, but to everyone who witnessed his behavior. The complete 180-degree turn from his original position. Remember, this was the same man who had defended stealing from a child as a life lesson. Now he was calling those same actions a terrible mistake. What changed? Was it the international embarrassment, the business consequences, the realization that millions were watching? Or was it genuine remorse? The internet's reaction was mixed. Some appreciated that he finally took responsibility. Others pointed out that apologizing only after being caught and humiliated doesn't really count as genuine remorse. The damage was already done. His name was permanently associated with this incident. His company's image was severely damaged, and most importantly, a child had been traumatized. But the story reveals even deeper questions about our society. This saga raises fascinating questions about wealth, privilege, and accountability in our digital age. What does this tell us about how extremely wealthy people view the world? Here's a millionaire CEO who felt entitled to take something from a child simply because he wanted it. When you're used to getting everything, maybe you start believing everything is available to you, even gifts meant for children. This wasn't a split-second decision. Sterik had time to see the hat was for a child. He had opportunities to step back. Instead, he prioritized his desires over a child's happiness. That speaks to a fundamental lack of empathy. And the original defense, first come, first serve? This suggests he believed might makes right, that being aggressive is not only acceptable, but should be taught to children. But there's another crucial angle. What does this teach us about social media accountability? 50 years ago, maybe a few hundred people would have witnessed this. Today, millions saw it within hours. His business was review bombed. His reputation permanently damaged. Is this justice? Or digital mob rule? On one hand, Sterik got what he deserved, public accountability for public bad behavior. On the other hand, was the response proportional to one moment of poor judgment? These questions don't have easy answers, but this story forces us to confront them. Behind the memes and viral videos, there's a corporate crisis unfolding. Drogbrook faced a full-blown catastrophe. Their CEO's face was plastered across international news as the millionaire who stole from a child. Think about it from a business perspective. They're a paving company that relies on community trust. Who's gonna hire someone led by a man who snatches gifts from kids? What parent wants him near their property? What school district trusts him with playground construction? The financial implications must have been staggering. Major contracts were probably reconsidered, business partnerships reevaluated, all over a hat that cost less than $50. This has become a case study in crisis MIS management. The initial denial made everything worse. The delay in apologizing gave the story time to spread. The tone-deaf comments added fuel to the fire. Other CEOs are quietly reviewing their own behavior. Corporate communications teams worldwide are updating crisis response plans. If it can happen to Sherrick, it can happen to anyone. Meanwhile, the tennis world rallied around positive values. Several players reached out to Brock with support and memorabilia. The kid probably received more tennis gear than most fans collect in a lifetime. This incident highlighted the beautiful sportsmanship culture in tennis, while exposing the ugly side of unchecked privilege. Why did this story capture global attention when rude behavior happens daily? Perfect viral storm, clear villain, wealthy CEO, sympathetic victim, innocent child, undisputable video evidence, universal emotional response. Everyone could relate. We've all been disappointed, children, or have kids we can imagine in that situation. The story had natural drama, theft, defensive comments, international backlash, apology, like a 3-act play in real time across social media. It happened at a major international event with global coverage. The business angle added stakes. The redemption arc with Modrzak provided emotional resolution. All these elements combined created the perfect viral storm that sparked international conversations about behavior, privilege, and digital accountability. So what can we learn from the great hat heist of 2025? First, don't steal from children. Basic human decency that apparently needs stating. Second, money doesn't buy class. Sherrick's millions couldn't purchase the empathy needed to recognize his behavior was wrong. Third, your public actions matter more than ever. Every smartphone is a camera. Every moment could go viral. Fourth, apologies from pressure feel hollow. Compare Sherrick's forced apology to Modrzak's immediate action. That's genuine character. Fifth, the internet never forgets. This will follow Sherrick forever. His legacy is permanently shaped by one moment. But the most important lesson is about choice. Every day, we choose kindness or selfishness, to lift up children or knock them down. We choose to be heroes or villains in small moments that make up our lives. For Sherrick, this fundamentally altered his identity, from successful entrepreneur to international symbol of greed. That's permanent. For Brock, hopefully this becomes a story about resilience and adult kindness rather than disappointment. For Modrzak, enhanced reputation and proof that character matters. For society, another lesson in digital accountability and the lasting consequences of our actions. What's the final verdict on Hatgate 2025? Pyotr Sherrick made a terrible decision that violated basic social norms. His defense showed a troubling lack of empathy. He deserved consequences. The internet's response was harsh, but probably appropriate. Social accountability. Public criticism and business consequences are reasonable outcomes for public bad behavior. Kamil Majsak emerged as the real hero, demonstrating genuine character and turning a negative into a positive. Little Brock got his gear, plus an unforgettable adventure. Hopefully he learned that while some adults are selfish, others will protect children. This story is really about daily choices. We can choose to be selfish or generous, cruel or kind. And in 2025, those choices can be seen by millions worldwide. The question is, what choice will you make when your moment comes? Because in our interconnected world, your moment of truth might be just one viral video away. Will you be the villain who steals from children? Or the hero who makes their dreams come true? The choice, as they say, is yours. But choose wisely, because the internet is always watching.